Whenever I felt like I wasn't getting good grades or I couldn't study, the first thing I'd do is go on YouTube and just watch self-improvement videos. This is the best study tip. Oh, if you don't do Pomodoro, that's why you can't study. That's why you're not getting good grades. Oh, you have to try the study method, otherwise you're not going to get good grades. Oh, try this breathing method before you go to bed. This is the secret to motivation. And sometimes I go days without studying because I felt like I was just studying incorrectly. And I believe the answers were found in study tip videos. And I was missing a piece of the puzzle. But I was looking for a solution to the problem that just didn't exist. For me, I always had this unhealthy belief that if something wasn't working, it was because I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't implementing enough techniques, tactics, etc. And a lot of us think this way. Imagine you just failed a test. You're probably going to think that you were studying incorrectly. You probably could have done better if you implemented that study tip or technique. And so this led me to wasting hours upon hours on YouTube instead of studying and limiting my progress as a student in general. But the answer isn't found adding more things, rather removing them. This is the power of essentialism. When you first find out about study tube self-improvement, it's so magical, right? It feels like you've discovered something new and you can't wait to try all these study techniques, tactics, journal, meditate, exercise, all these things at once. Especially for studying. This kind of mindset of adding new things into your study sessions can do you more harm than good. For me, I was watching video after video and it felt so exciting. This is called shiny object syndrome. I'd be looking at all these different study tips, tactics, and I was doing none of them, so I wanted to add all of them in. So soon, I was doing the Pomodoro extended Feynman technique, but also flashcards, past previous questions, notes, mind maps, everything. And in fact, this was decreasing my output. I was getting worse grades. This is the graph of diminishing returns. As you start to add more tips and techniques, your grades and outputs are going to increase, right? But only up to a certain point. As you keep on adding it, the rate decreases and actually goes into the negative as you start adding more and more. If you think about why this is, it's quite simple. Studying isn't learning. What do you need for tests? You need knowledge, you need to learn. You don't actually need to study. Studying is just the vehicle for gaining knowledge. It sounds confusing, but think of it this way. People don't go to the gym to go to the gym. They go for the result that come from gym. The body, the physique. If they could get to that result, the physique, the body, without going to the gym, they wouldn't. And since studying is the vehicle that we need to get to the knowledge and learning, which we're going to be using in the tests, it is true that we need to study. But studying isn't something you want to do, and it's not the result. You need to start thinking about how you can get more results with less time. Because once you understand this, you'll realize that you don't need 10 study tips. Studying is just the vehicle, as the gym is the vehicle for getting a good physique. And once you found that fastest car, the fastest vehicle, that will get you to the destination of knowledge, learning, a method that works, that's all you need. Stop adding more things into your life. For studying, this is definitely true. Less is more. How stupid would it seem if I went to like an owner of a car dealership and I said, I want your fastest car. And he said, oh sir, this is our fastest car we have, the Mercedes, whatever. I know nothing about cars. But you still wanted to try every single different car, hopping from like the Mini to the Toyota, like etc. It's just so silly, right? Because you already know the fastest vehicle. Hey, if you're watching this right now, you want to get good grades. And years ago, I had no idea how to study, nor how to get good grades. But I discovered a unique way of studying that allowed me to become the top of my class. A system that I've shared with others and helped them get better grades without studying for hours or even having to enjoy studying. Go below this video right now and register to watch a brand new free masterclass that I put together that will show you how to become a top student in your class fast, no matter your current grades. Spots are limited, so go watch it right now. And I'm telling you that for studying, flashcards and past paper questions are more than enough to do well in your tests and studying. And actually leveling up these skills and getting good at these things will be better for you. We all know in video games that you choose a close knit of skills to focus on and train, because if you try to level up all your stats at once, you're only going to get level 3 in all of them, and that's not good. But if you focus on one or two things that do work, you're going to get to level 10 in those things and make way more progress. No one says this to you, and it's really surprising, right? And if you genuinely enjoy studying and you study because it's fun, by all means ignore this video. But those of you that want better results and the most direct path, you need to start removing these things because you've added, because there's way too much. Study gadgets, Pomodoro, notes, mind maps, remove all that and focus on a couple. Remember the curve of diminishing return. Let me tell you a bit about my experience with this. So as I said, I added all these things, but I found that simply I wasn't prepared for tests. Because instead of actually studying and learning, which is what's going to get me the knowledge for the test, I'd be focusing solely on all these different techniques. So I make a mind map of one topic and then I make notes of the same topic, but then I'd literally just be rereading the textbook of the same topic. And it was really inefficient because I was just covering the same knowledge, not focusing on gaining more knowledge points of the thing. I was rather focusing on just doing large amount of study tips and like methods, because I had this belief that if I studied more, I was going to get better results. But actually, once I realized that it wasn't the studying that was going to get me there, and realizing that studying is just the vehicle of gaining knowledge, I realized that I actually needed to find ways to make studying more efficient to get me to that point where I had the knowledge knowledge and I'd be able to ace tests. So I cut out everything. I got rid of like all these like things I did, like Pomodoro, mind maps, etc. And I focused while I was outside and past paper questions when I was on the desk studying. And this made me level up so much because I was simply focusing on gaining the knowledge by doing the questions. And that's just made me so that I'm so much more efficient. And that's why study videos and tips are harmful. You watch video after video and there's people that say that this study method is good, or some say that this is good, and you start adding in too much into your life. It's not a one size fits all. Know what works for you, and instead of mindlessly following, remove the fluff from your life. You need to really hold this belief when you study, because for the gym as well, people want to be at the gym for the least amount of time possible. That's why people advocate to only spend the time at the gym like 45 minutes to an hour, and then in that hour people have optimized it so much. There's people saying that you only need to do like a push-pull leg split, and you only need to do 1 to 2 exercises per muscle group. And now these people will make more progress than the people who do loads of research like 10 different exercises for each muscle. But why? Because the people that focus on the 1 to 2 core things will level up those exercises that will do better form, and they'll perform the exercise better, and they'll see more growth. It's the same with studying. So does that mean you shouldn't watch my videos? I like to think that instead of telling you to add more things, I like to build around the core principles. That's why for study techniques, I've only ever advocated flashcards and past paper questions, because I know this is what works for me, and that's more than enough because they're both active reading. Right now, you probably have shiny object syndrome. You go from one study tip to the next instead of actually taking action and putting time into that one thing. You don't actually get the benefits of like study tips unless you actually like do them for a long time. That's why I like past papers, flashcards, etc. Once you start doing them, stick to that thing. It's so inefficient because I see people like making loads of sets on flashcards, they're never using them and switching to another study technique, and that's pointless because the whole point of studying is that you do the same thing over and over. It's like spaced repetition, but your brain has to get used to the action of studying as well. Just choose a couple of things that you want to do and remove everything else. Now, if this video helped you, you don't want to miss my free exclusive masterclass that I put together, showing you how to get great grades without studying for hours and without having to be smart. If you want to become an academic weapon and live your dream life, you gotta watch this. Click the first link in the description to do so. And I really hope this helped you. And as always, I hope this helped you. Take action, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.